We'll call the select board meeting for July 27th to order at 7 o'clock. Chief Mantello, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Need a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion to approve the agenda for July 27th, 2026.
Second.
Any discussion?
There is. We need to, we had agreed that we would take another look at Tyler Technologies' final bill tonight.
That's right, we did. So can we add that in on town office?
We also don't have the minutes.
Wasn't there something that you sent an email out about that was premature, that was on the agenda?
Yeah, it is the VTRANS, one's a highway safety improvement grant. We haven't got the final paperwork on it yet.
So we're gonna do away with that.
Anything else?
MERP Program, I've explained it, but I don't have any further documentation from this, the program director, so we can scratch that one.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
All in favor of the agenda as modified? Aye. So we're gonna move on to citizens' comments, items not on the agenda. So if you could come up to the podium and tell us your name?
Never done this, so. I'm Barbara Woodard. And my concern is, I would like to know if, after what has happened at Crystal Beach with Jeffrey's Burgers and the Caruso, or however you say it, family, and the checks in town and everything, how did they get here? Is there no background check on who is hired to run the stuff in the town? Boy, when you look at his arrest record, and she's even got one, we were just shocked at how they even were allowed to run that stand at the beach.
So normally employees we do background checks on employees and volunteers, but we normally don't, we haven't done background checks on them, but lesson learned on that, I guess. I'm not sure, did you hear me, ma'am?
I've heard part of it.
So normally we do it on employees and volunteers that are working around children, but we haven't done it on the background checks for the snack shack, but obviously this got brought to light, so we're gonna have to start doing them on it.
Yeah. This
We were
is-
certainly duped. They had a really good website,
Oh, yeah.
and unfortunately, we had some people that were really anxious to get a vendor in there, and mistakes were made.
Yeah, well, she presented things too. I mean, I have to admit, she was in our place a few times, and a lot of us and a lot of our friends all got stung by her. But
Good.
they're still here, though they're selling hamburgers at the park in Fairhaven, so they're still around.
Well, they did a splendid job of selling it to us, and like Mark said, when I heard who it was, I went and looked at their website, and it looked, their menu looked great, and it seemed to me it was a mature business. And once again, we normally do like a Little League coach, a volunteer for the rec department, of the firemen, the first responders, or a new staff member for the town, all get a background check, every one of them. And this is something that has never come up before, so like Mike said, lesson learned.
Yeah.
We-
Well, I guess.
We
my
made a
com-
mistake, and the good thing about a mistake is that you never squander a mistake and you always make a point of learning from it.
Yeah, well,
So-
we did too, because we thought, well, the town hired them, they gotta be trustworthy. So we took a check. We're okay, we did get our money by a means, but there's other people that felt the same way. If they were working through the town, they've gotta be okay and took checks, so.
Well, rest assured, if somebody else wants to move in and become a vendor for the town, so to speak, for lack of a better way of putting it, they will be vetted properly. We're gonna be doing a background check on anybody that's associated with our letterhead.
That's all I wanted.
And I do want to say, the town manager acted very, very quickly once it became apparent that these people were not who they had presented themselves. He didn't hesitate. He got them cleared out right away.
We were on top of it too, the minute.
And
Yeah.
they did, just on the record, they did, that for that 1 month that they were there, they did pay us, not with a check, with the cash and the second part of it, but they are out and
Our mistake, and we'll do better next time.
Well, that's it. Thank you. That's all I wanted.
Thanks, Barb.
Thanks, Barb.
And there was social media flying around, because, again, I don't like looking at social media, but I've responded recently, because there's comments being made that are not factual, and somebody was questioning their health department certificate, and the health officer called, and they did get issued a temporary health certificate, no matter what was said on social media, because that came from the guy that issued it.
They were in compliance with state health regulations. I verified that and made sure that was the case. And, I can even give you the permit number if you wanted it. Not that it matters now, but, you know, because I contacted the state health department about that issue, and they were in compliance. Unfortunately, the rest of it wasn't up to what we wanted to have, so lesson learned. We won't make that mistake again.
Okay. Thank you.
No good
Thanks,
deed goes
Barb.
unpunished.
Pardon?
No good deed goes unpunished.
Well, like, wise man once said to me, never ever squander a perfectly good mistake. Okay, so, any more citizens' comments? Mary? What's your name, Mary?
Mary McIntyre, here with Friends of Castleton Rec, Parks and Rec. Just wanted to let you guys know, if you haven't seen it already, we're gonna do a community kickball game. It's been approved at the use of the field, the T-ball field, just over the hill. It's all ages encouraged to join. I have had one comment that didn't sound safe. We're adapting the rules so to make it safe. You know, because we want it to be a community event. It's no fee. I bought 2 kickballs, official kickballs. That's probably as official as we're getting. And just gonna have people come out Sunday, August 9th, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And just asking people to bring no money, just bring a smile and come and participate and have fun. And neighborhood style pickup kickball. Players under 18 must be accompanied by an adult. And we're hoping it'll be a good time.
Hope so too.
So that's it. Just wanted to keep you guys in the loop.
Once
Thanks,
again,
Mary.
thanks to the Friends of Rec for all they're doing.
Mr. Chairman.
We're trying. We want to bring our community together. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
Comment?
There's nothing on the agenda for rec, but there is an agenda item for that stormwater. So do you want me to hold off on that, talking about the project and how it might impact that field until that point?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, could it affect that date?
Not at that time.
Okay.
Future, maybe.
The rain date is August 16th.
Won't
Probably
have,
not.
won't
Probably
have
still
any
won't.
impact for that either.
Okay.
This is the fall, probably?
Yeah, I forgot what the date was, but you guys gotta prove it first, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Thank
didn't
you.
see anything on the schedule, like I forget that gentleman's name, but
Roland?
yeah,
Devin Lee?
yeah. I don't know if he's here for citizens comment or.
Roland, were you here for citizens' comments, or? Because there's nothing on the agenda for Devin
Told me to see a
Lee.
lawyer, and I didn't have much money, so I went to legal aid. They said, we don't get into that. But they sent me to Montpelier to the highways and right-of-ways to property. And they turned around and sent me to a lawyer in Rutland. And he says, I got use of that road as long as I live. Well, I wanna know is who's owning it? Because it went for back taxes. Technically,
Technically, Mr. Chairman, we don't have anybody to bill at this point, but the attorney that he's dealing with called me. They're actually doing the deed research to find out, see if they can go through probate to find out who is the legitimate heir or assigns to the original owner. So that, hopefully that their research brings more fruit than mine did.
So based on what Mike is telling, what our town manager just said is,
Huh?
I said, based on what our town manager just said, the lawyer you saw in Rutland is actually working to find out who owns that road. And once they know that, then they'll move on to the next step.
well, it's gonna boil down to just what I said at the beginning of this talk. For the town to put it into a class 4, not maintained by the town, but it stays, the development lines for the road and the development stays there.
Well, I did
But the
go,
town don't maintain it or nothing. They just own it.
let's find out who does own it first. That's, we just can't take possession of it. That's not legal. We have
My
to.
deed says I got use of that road.
It does, along with the other 4 properties.
And everybody else's deed is the same way.
Agreed. I went through all those deeds, remember? I told you that.
And if you've got any more questions, there is my lawyer to call for you people to get in contact with.
Perfect. So based on what Mike has told me, that attorney is working on finding out who actually legally owns that. And then once we know that, then we'll move on to whatever the next steps are.
Well, knowing Gilbert, he did this on purpose.
Okay, it's not the forum to start beating up on somebody.
We don't want to get into that at this point. Let's find out who owns it and then we'll
It
move on
makes
from
it,
there.
it's in Gilbert's name,
That gentleman is.
the development.
Agreed, but he's passed away, so we have to
Right.
find out who inherited that estate. That's what that lawyer is working on. And until we know that, we can't do anything else.
But that's the way I see it. Put it into a class 4 and not maintained by the town. All it is keeps the road, the 50-foot and the WMSAC the same. And if we ever, the 5 of us ever decide to make it a class 3, so be it.
Well, that's first.
But you still don't have to take it over.
We know that.
Because I know there's a road over six years or better in Mendon, the town won't accept it.
This board can make that decision on a
There's
case-by-case
14
basis.
houses on that one.
Also, just so you're aware, I also got a call from Ron Fabian about the road, and he asked me what was wrong with it. Is it something that's not being maintained? So, and because he got wind of this, so he called me, asking me questions as well. And so I let him know what was going on, and he's like, okay.
Well, it sounds like he finally got the legal help that he needed, and his lawyer's moving on with it, so we'll wait and see what the fruit of their research is. So now we're gonna move on to Crystal Beach potable water.
Not a lot to share besides the fact that I got a hold of Parker Water Wells and asked them if they would take a look at that to see if those 2 wells, allegedly 3, but 2 that we can find, they'd be viable. We don't know if the pumps work. We don't know, if the water is if they tested if it's gonna be potable or not. But it got kicked around going back years. I brought it to the board about, I think the board was asked about drilling a well up there, and then it was like, well, we have 2 wells up there. They're on our property. Maybe those would work for the snack shack, because they're never gonna get a license from the health department until there's potable water in there. It's gonna be that temporary type situation. There's UV light systems that you could use to, treat the water, but it's probably gonna still taste like pumpkin seed. I wanna see if those wells are even viable. I mean, those are, a lot of water could come out of those wells and it'd be good. And then for the snack bar, during the summer months, we could run black pipe underneath the bridge, underneath the ground over to the snack shack. And at least during the non-winter months, there could be water over there.
Then winterize it in the winter.
And then we just drain it out and winterize it for the winter. But then the snack shack would be a little more, I don't know,
Viable.
somebody that's gonna look at it to use it for, something that's more than prepackaged food, they'd have water there. I don't think it'd be enough to, at the height of the summer, flushing toilets. I'm not sure. We might have to keep the water from the lake to keep flushing the toilets, but it'd be for that, maybe the sinks or at least the snack bar.
So I know that when you talked to Parker's the other day, there was a guy that was gonna come and see you and maybe start looking into this process, so
So-
did that happen?
No, he was just, our timing couldn't link up. So I sent a message to Jeff today saying, could you just continue this and follow up with, Ryan is his name, to get him up there and look at this, so. And Jeff was off today, so it didn't happen today. But yes, they did reach back to us and say, let's find a time to meet there.
Because when it was brought up that there were potentially two or three viable wells on that property, it only makes sense to explore that first before we even talk about drilling a well, because that's gonna be expensive.
Yeah, for what, for the amount of time that thing's run and the money that we take in for it. And a UV light system, you're probably talking $2,500+ for that.
And just for the board's knowledge, when I made the phone call to find out about that license, it was a 90-day conditional license that was not going to be renewed unless they had a potable water system in there for next year. They were okay with the temporary solution that these people had for this summer, but they weren't, the long term, it wasn't gonna be considered viable.
And I think I would have concerns that, the people that are running it, whoever it is, are following the rules and they're not using water that shouldn't be in there, because they're cooking food with it and stuff like that, so.
When you're supposed to be using that water, the potable water,
Washing hands.
for washing hands and washing dishes as well, you can't use lake water for that legally. Now, you could use treated water to wash your hands and wash dishes, the UV light, it would be safe to use that water, but it probably, like you said, it wouldn't taste very good.
I was surprised too, this is to the board, I was surprised at the volume of business that group did in a month. There is something to be had there, for a snack bar. People were coming out to eat there that they weren't at the beach, they heard about it and they went there. So if there's a good clientele, or there's a good, vendor in there, it could make some money. And when I met with this group, I mean, it's public knowledge, they were only paying $350 a month for that use of that place. They were willing to triple that, because they made that much money. I saw that, I mean, again,
They were willing to triple it, but they didn't pay the first time, so,
well, they did,
Right.
but they did.
Yeah,
but-
eventually.
But the check was rubber,
yeah, so,
but they paid cash. Yeah, so, but
Well, they settled.
I think I think there's something there that it could be for the future that, could go in there besides, snow cones and ice cream sandwiches, I guess. I say that, my wife ran it for 3 years and sold snow cones and ice cream sandwiches.
But you're saying that it's proven there's more potential there.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Can,
that's
can
in
we
the-
make sure that we stay on top of this, because we've had this discussion before, the first year I was on the board, and we're back at it again.
Which part?
The part with the wells and needing potable water so that we can have somebody in there, and we're gonna look at the wells and see how they are, and now it's what, 2 or 3 years later, and we're having the exact same conversation.
I never called anybody in the last one, because when the board turned down drilling the well, I didn't even go to the other wells that were there. That was brought up by Heath Goyette later. So it never was followed up on.
Well,
Because,
it's probably worth seeing if there is a good well there.
yeah,
If not, it's probably prohibitive.
yeah. And there's 2 that we know that where the wellheads are, so.
Yeah, there's allegedly 3 wells there. There used to be three domiciles there. And, we know physically where 2 of the wells are. The third one, not so much.
I think it's leaking into the Suckerbrook pump station.
Yeah, probably. More than likely, it's pumped directly in there and it's just running full time. Yeah, in the summer when you turn the power on for Crystal Beach, it just lights up the pump and it's just dumping it in there.
Yes, sir.
Same guy drilled both wells that you know of?
We're
If he
pretty,
drilled the third one, he would have a record of where the third one is.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to them about who drilled the original well.
There should be a tag
There should be a
on the
casing,
wellhead
yeah.
with the date.
But they probably go back to the 1950s.
well, that's how we know to call Parker's, right? Is one of the well casing, the top of the wellhead has a tag on it?
No, I just looked up.
These were from the old trailers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, more than
Yeah, do you
likely,
remember the old
Doc
trailers?
probably drilled
I've been
them.
here that long.
I do.
On the north side of Sucker Brook, for a long, long time, there were 6 or 7 mobile homes that had leases going back to the 1950s. And finally, we stopped renewing the leases. They had to move the trailers, and then that half of Crystal Beach was developed as a town park. But those trailers were like, 8 by 20, the old round ones from 1952. I'm sure those wells are very, very old.
But didn't they have to put tags on them back then?
Well, they probably do. That's why I want them up there, because they'll be able to help me, determine if there's not a tag on the wellhead, then they might be able to find some records or,
Yeah.
but I just wanted to start somewhere, and I called Parker's, and that's where I started.
That's a good place to start.
Mary?
Mike, the other, Tom Williams is still alive, and he worked for Spafford's for years and years. He lives up on Route 30, I think it's Sudbury, and I think they still run Spafford's water wells. But he worked right here at the Four Corners. And,
I looked up Spafford's, and they were in Underhill.
yeah, I think that's where they have their main headquarters, but the Williams still run it, and they live right there.
Downtown Sudbury,
Yeah, pretty much.
just north of downtown Sudbury.
And Tom is still alive, and his son was young when he started working with him, and so they might remember too.
All right, thank you.
So now, we're gonna move, are we done with potable water?
Yeah.
Let's move on to line striping in the village area. The drawing that you emailed to us, is that what the state's current plan is?
Yes. That's through Dubois and King, who contracted with the state to do the engineering for the project.
So this would be the same lines that they had on top of the base coat.
Correct.
And that would be, so I didn't do the math at home, but there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, approximately 8 less parking spots than what used to be there?
I counted 5 in front of the businesses, but
Yeah, well, I was counting the ones over here in front of the Texaco
yeah, I
too.
didn't count those.
So, you saw this, right, Rose?
Mhm.
So what are our options? I mean, I know that Mr. Raylan was not happy with the reduction in parking spots, and I understand why he would be. So, what's our options?
According to the meeting I had with VTrans and the engineer, that this particular project, the town can go through a waiver process, and you can waive them, the contractor, painting the lines, totally. or you can do it by sections, which I still don't have the sections identified, but you could waive it by section, or you could waive at, not, you don't have to waive it at all. Those are like, so let's just say that there's a section that's from the post office to Mechanic Street, that area in between there. You could say, we want to waive that, the contractor paying those, we'll do it ourselves. And then once we do it ourselves, then it could be back to the way it was prior to this project. That's an option. I just need to know where the sections are. The other option, and we could hire somebody to do it, which again, they charged us by the lines, I forgot what it was per line, and I didn't look it up today. Or we have a painting machine, we can paint lines ourselves. We can do straight lines. We can do crosswalk hatches, but we really can't do things like railroad crossings and those type of things, but there's none of those in the village. So some of this painting we could do ourselves and save some money on. It's just getting the time that I pull the crew off other projects to line stripe the village. Now, if ever, I think we've had discussions individually about even though there's hatch marks in those places, people are still parking in them. So it didn't really deter many people. But technically, you're not supposed to park there, and they do. And the reason they did this is because of visibility.
The thing that would concern me, if the town elected to paint our own lines and somebody gets hurt, do we have a liability?
Well, we tell the contractor where to paint them, so it's
Same thing.
Same thing. I
mean, coming out of Mechanic Street, that's an area that I think has had a few accidents. Is that correct, Chief?
Oh, yeah, yeah, they should cut that corner out.
Because you can't see. So the state says, hey, you gotta put this crosshatch in so people can see, and we go, nah, and somebody gets hurt. Are we?
I agree with Mark on that, the
Are we
liability
incurring a
that we're
liability?
gonna be getting on this, because the state says this is how this needs to be done.
The crosswalk, I agree, it's tough. They give up a lot of spaces in front of the village store,
Two.
which is a lot. It's half of them. you know?
This project is not a federal project, where the federal MUTCD standards, municipal uniform traffic control device stuff. But we're moving forward with a sidewalk project down in the village that will require it. And so all this does is draw out the inevitable.
I don't like losing those spots, but I spent a couple hours out here and walked those crosswalks, and this is much safer.
And also,
And the cost to the town is much better right now, zero.
If we do nothing and the state moves forward with this, our out-of-pocket is zero, correct?
And people are just gonna park in the lines anyway. And Chief, how many parking tickets do you write downtown in a year? Yeah. So, I think that answers the question.
Well, you know, most of you drive trucks. My car isn't little, but it's not big. But to back out of a parking place in front of Bird's Eye, it's tricky. You know, if you've got a truck here and I'm trying to back out, to see it's pretty tricky.
Diagonal parking should all be back in, but boy, the country doesn't want to make that switch.
because people can't back up, Mark.
Well, they're backing into traffic.
I know, but they just hit everything.
I guess if you backed in, you'd back into the people eating in front of Bird's Eye, but I hate missing those parking spaces, but it's safer.
Might as well just say it on record, when the board approves the design of the sidewalk project, one of the discussions was closing off the Texaco station to gain more parking there. So, I mean, that's coming down not too long in the future for us.
And
Right,
that's,
that would gain 4 spots.
and that's you either get $1.7 million or you don't do it.
Right.
So,
For that project.
yeah, that's what I mean. We're gonna be there anyway.
Yeah.
Or we're not gonna, or we just wasted all this money engineering the sidewalk project.
It pretty well sums it up.
you know. You know how much I love sidewalks, I'd like to just get them over and done with, but I also am not willing to spend 3 years and all this money to engineer all this stuff and then just say, oh, we're gonna give it up because we don't wanna close off one entrance to a parking lot.
But I can tell you this, though, just being here for as long as I've worked, is Castleton has a very wide street with a big parking area. In most small towns that big, and most towns have a green. They're beyond the library, there's hardly any cars ever parked down there. There's like tons of parking, you just have to walk a little.
People just don't wanna walk 100 yards.
I mean, there's a lot of parking down there.
And under an old DRB meeting, there was this area right next door to us, that was supposed to be overflow parking for the Blue Cat and the pizza place.
Since that got brought up, the temporary structure that was being erected there is not going to be erected at all?
They took it down.
It's been dismantled, so is it gonna stay dismantled?
According to the individual that put it up, he didn't say he was permanently taking it down, but he talked to the zoning administrator, who said it's not authorized. So if they put it up, they'll be in violation. So I didn't hear that from the individual themselves. but- And the other issue, or the other thing, the other day when we were talking to the contractors for the Stormwater Project, was putting in some extra parking where part of that basketball court. So we'll still have a basketball court, we can put an outdoor pickleball court there. There's enough room to do that, but it would put some parking, some overflow parking out here too. It's just people don't wanna walk.
So as far as the,
That's good for the health, let them walk.
so as far as line striping in the village area, what's this board's consensus? Take no action?
I say spend 0 taxpayer dollars.
I second that.
I agree with that.
Why don't you make it a motion, Rob?
And make a motion that we leave the line striping as presented by the state of Vermont.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I will let them know tomorrow.
We're taking no action. Chief Goyette's not here?
He's not, he met with me today. He wanted to let the board know that the tower's back in service. They did the ladder testing on it after it was welded, so it's back in service. But when American Test Company came in, they found another crack that they didn't find the first time, but it's not in a life safety area. It's on a rail, so, it's aluminum. So, Heath told me today he was gonna talk to Ferguson's and Lyle's and see if they can do that welding and be done with that part. But it still passed, it wasn't life safety, but he didn't catch it the first time, the American Testing Company. So, but it's back in service.
Good.
They reached out to 2 companies to complete the work on the new pickup that they bought and the side-by-side and the trailer to have it lettered. They got 2 different companies to do that. That's been kind of dragging out, so that's done. Other than that, everything's in service at this point. No word on the grant, on the AFG grant, the Assistance to Firefighters grant, because we won't hear anything for months on that, but, so, no updates on that. But he did present, the report, but.
He what?
He gave the report, but he just not here to
Yep.
talk specifics, that's all.
We all had a copy of the report, right?
Yep.
Chief Mantello, you're up.
And those were in your mailbox, the chief's report.
Yeah, did you pick yours up?
I brought them all down here.
All right, good evening, board.
Good
Good
evening.
evening,
Things
Chief.
we'll go over today. Well, first we'll go over the report for June. And if you look at the calls of service, I think we had 753 up, 29 more calls in June. Did a little more to protect, directed patrols. We had a high demand on some traffic enforcement and doing some of that, so that increased in June. Foot patrols, we increased, some of those came from the July 4th events that went on, which I thought went very well. And I think everything else is pretty even. Any questions on the calls?
I would like to say thank you for all the work you put in July 4th. That was an overwhelming success, and the community really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I want to say there was, I tried to get some numbers from Lori and Keith that were up there. I don't know, I was down by the fireworks, so I didn't see the total number of people up there, but there had been at least 300. I don't know who was, were you there?
I was there.
What do you think?
Must have been.
I don't know about a number because
They were spread out, there's a
I
bunch.
was on the grass on the top of the hill.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, there were a lot of young families. That's what really impressed me. I saw a lot of people with, you know, kids that were 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the kids were running around and having a good time, and it was a really nice family event.
Okay.
Those are my grandkids, Mark.
We sat in the,
Any of them?
we sat in the stadium and there was a bunch of kids playing on the football field. I don't think they were supposed to be because they got chased off about 10 minutes before the fireworks went off, but they were having a good
They were
time.
having a good time.
Lori said that when I talked to her at the end of it, she thought about 400 people. With the people that were there for the concert, and some of them stayed, some of them didn't, but then more people came in. She said probably about 400.
I know the traffic was heavy leaving. It's huge. So
I
that
got
was
there
good.
early, it looked like they weren't gonna, the concert was not a full venue, and I thought, oh boy. But boy, about 15 minutes before the fireworks started, the people really came in droves.
And then we'll see what happens next year, but at least for this year, I thought it went pretty well.
Went really well.
Anything else on the calls? Okay, let's look at the arrest. We made 11 in June. So really 2 months, May and June, we had 28 arrests. That's pretty good. That's pretty high, actually. But it's this time of year, we've seen an increase in all sorts of stuff going on, which takes a lot of time and paperwork. Traffic violations, we were down for total violations by almost 30. I don't know any particular reason. Could be some casework. We had people on vacation. Summer's a tough time. People want to take time off before winter sets in, so that's partly it. And calls of service to the university, we had 1 in June. Backup provided by us, we did 3, we backed up Fairhaven 3 times. And then backup provided to us was 5 times in June, 2 by Fairhaven and 5 by state police. So we have a good relationship. You know, backups are calls that, whether it's domestics or something, you need a 2-officer response. Sometimes a DWI, someone that's intoxicated. Any questions on this report?
Just one, the burglary numbers have been pretty low and pretty flat, but are they residential, commercial, or a little of both?
That one was a residential.
The what calls?
Usually,
Burglary calls.
yeah, usually our burglary time is fall and before spring, the end of winter. Where a lot of people are gone, they're on vacations, trying to get some warm weather, or they're especially on the lakes, on the lakeside. But people have a lot of cameras now. We're seeing that more and more with residents all over. Well, what I wanted to talk about was the Creek Road, because that's been a hot topic. We've been talking about this for probably the last 3 or 4 weeks. Justin and I talked about this before this meeting, and he put together some stats, which I'm going to read off to you, kind of indicate some things that sometimes people, like Creek Road's not the only one we get complaints on. We've been getting them on Route 30 by Float Bridge. We've been getting them on Johnson Spooner. Of course, we always get them on North Road. So that's pretty consistent year-round, especially in the summertime, we get more. Now we've got someone came to me today, talked about Main Street because they just paved it. Well, that happens everywhere. I told them, I said, well, that's no excuse. But that pavement, it becomes a racing lane. So someone that lives on Main Street noticed the traffic was picked up and like after 11 o'clock. So that's something I'll let my officers know, pay more attention to that, especially with no lines. But we documented from May 1st to July 26th, 94 directed patrols on Creek Road and West Castleton Road. So what does that mean? So that's both moving and stationary. So by the time you enter Creek Road at 25 miles an hour from 4A and go to West Castleton and come back, you know how long that takes? At 30 miles an hour? Guess.
8 minutes.
20.
Does it really?
Yes. It's
Well,
farther
go
than
back.
you think. Like sometimes if we're up by West Castleton or by Moscow Road, we get a call on the east side. It could take 15, 20 minutes. Of course, with speed, you can make it quicker. So some of that's moving, and one thing that we do know is once an officer gets stationary, everybody's blinking cars. And now they got those apps where it will indicate where police are. All you have to do is download that app and you can just plug it in. So we try to do a lot more moving at times, just get moving radar, people coming at us, people coming up behind us. So that's one of the things. And then of course, that excludes all the property checks and stuff that we do, like the green dump, especially this time of year. Now it was 85 to 86 today, you're gonna, we just see that, it's a pattern. We get a lot of people on there, and that usually things start, if you've noticed, if you've traveled down West Castle, what do you see on the pavement?
Tire marks.
They're just railing the tires. Down by, what's that little road, is it the W, before you get to the,
Avalon Beach.
no,
Wilson?
Wilson Road, yes. Right there, that hill, someone laid out some serious.
That was a good one.
Probably two of them that they've been there for about a month. So I know Justin did some West Castleton radar on Saturday, but these are not done in the daytime. These are done after. It's the same on the green dump. So there was one year when we had the COVID year, that was the worst. We literally had to put people out there just stationary and walk around. Because people would go out, pull up, squeal out, which, listen, we know, we all were young, I understand that. But if you don't have any kind of enforcement on it, it'll just run amok. So, people don't realize the other thing, and, you can't really explain to the citizens, because they obviously pay our wages and pay all the stuff for us, so you try to be very professional and polite. But I'll point out to them, you got to realize that outside of the weekends, we have one officer on per shift, the exception of 3 of the days in the week. And then we have calls. So we're not always have the time to get in certain times. Like I can tell you right now, 3:30 every day, from 3:30 to 5, we get at least 4 or 5 calls. It's a witching hour, happens, people coming home from work, kids are out of control. Someone's upset, we get the road rage calls because people trying to rush, all those kind of things. So that's something that doesn't show up on the stats, but that's just more information that that we need to put out and to let people know. Not making excuses, like I told them, I said, we'll get there, we'll try to get out there and get some, we try to do at least 45 minutes a shot on a stationary check. An hour's kind of long, just because something's going to come in. And the other thing about Creek Road, there's very few spots you can sit out there safely to run stationary radar, because there's no shoulder. You have to get in either in somebody's driveway. There's a couple spots that you could go besides the green dump. West Castleton, you got that Wilton Road pull off. And again, if you go farther up West Castle before you get to the quarry, because they're doing construction up there one of the houses up there. We've been able to get some stationary, but that's really difficult. But the other thing, Dick, or any questions on that before I move on to the next thing on Creek Road?
No, I will comment. I took a ride up there after we talked the other day, and I'd say 30 miles an hour is appropriate for that as a speed limit, because I kept, I was driving in what I thought was comfortable and safe and kept looking at my speedometer, and I was doing between 25 and 30 most of the time.
So I'm glad you brought that up, Dick, because I told you that we did find the traffic study that was done on October 2016, from August 29th to September 6th. I remember when that happened. I remember when they came and they did it. They sent us a report. And also based on our traffic ordinance for our town roads, we can set the speed limit what we want. We just can't go below 25 to enforce. So what they found out, and I would recommend we probably do another 10 years. Probably traffic has increased. So they did, let me just run some stats for you. So they ran it from August 29th to September 6th. So the average daily traffic going south on Creek Road, guess how many cars in a day?
89.
1,500.
No. Might be more than that.
1,176 average.
And that's not the busiest time of the year either.
No, that's not.
Right, it's really weather
That's
dependent.
the end of the season, August 29th. That's pretty much everything's over.
Yeah, Labor Day weekend. So you have, I mean, if I were to recommend, I would recommend probably after Memorial Day, before August. That's usually the peaks. July is always really busy. North, 11:45 average. The highest day was Sundays, September 4th, 1,800 south, 1,700 north. It's a lot of cars. So they also had some, one of the things they recommended a couple things, and there's a lot of things to consider. So Mike had asked me, remember that flashing light they used to have down by Railroad? Or Railroad, or how you pronounce it? That was a private citizen's. They had set it up, when I first came here, they had it up for about 4 or 5 years in the battery. There was wires they ran, and they just stopped putting it up. So there are, I think, corners, because I think that corner that goes there, I think the corner just before you come down, I think the corner, obviously, at Avalon Beach, that whole S turn is a gnarly little corner. People can be going 40 and hang over too far in the center lane. That we could put some lights or signs or some kind of thing, and that's something that the board can discuss. So those are things we can design. We also can decrease the speed limit on corners, like they do everywhere else. But to enforce that speed limit on a corner, you gotta have a place to sit, and it's not a long distance, so that doesn't happen too often. Where that comes in play is in an accident. If there's a bad accident, they go into a lake, which thank God that hasn't happened. Only in the winter they do it. We pull their box out, and it'll tell you what their speed is, whether they put brakes on and such. So there's one thing I wanted to bring up on this, and let me get back to the speeds. Okay. So, well, I'm just going to read off they usually, from 1 to 15 miles an hour, there were 0.6% cars doing that. Okay?
When you say, that's over the speed limit, right?
No.
Or that's 1 to
the speed
15?
limit,
Okay.
1 to 15. 16 to 20, nobody. 21 to 25, 2.2%. 26 to 30s, 17.7. 31 to 35, that was the highest, which is 44.9%. 36 to 40, so you're going 10 over at that point if you're going 40. That's about 27.5%. 41 to 45, 5.6, and 46 to 50 would be 1.4, and then nothing after that.
Excuse me.
Where was that measurement taken on the road?
So where they had that, you know where they had it, they
No, I
had
do
that, they had that right in between Woodard's and where Mr. Rotundo lives, that whole section of road right there. That's where they had that set up.
It's a straight section of road there.
Yeah.
You put your cruise control on 30 and go up that road, and there's times it feels like you're crawling. But
Yeah.
when you get to Point of Pines,
Correct.
30
Those-
feels like
those-
you're going
Yeah,
70.
you gotta slow down for those. But, you know, I mean, that's, I mean, I think 30's fine, but, you know, it's really up to the town. If they do another study, I recommend that, and it shows different, you know, higher percentages of, and I would probably put it at 2 points of the road. I wouldn't just put it there. I'd also put it down by the green dump or even on West Castleton Road. That's just my opinion. I think you gotta do the whole road. You can't just do one section. So that was done in 2016.
Well, thank you for looking that up, chief.
Yeah. Any questions?
I have no
Mike.
questions about that.
After the board, when they have any questions.
Go ahead, Mike.
There's been some complaints about tents and woods and people walking around with backpacks. Have you experienced anything right now or certain areas of town that's happening?
Well, we had 2 of those complaints today, so I went to there was a complaint that came in, I don't know, Mike had called me about it. I don't know who the complainant was. I thought it came from the actual center, the Castleton Community Center, but they said that there were tents down along the trail down there. So I walked the whole thing, looked along the whole wood line, didn't see anything. Then I talked to Tony, Tony LaBelle was up there, and she said, did you guys like to make the complaints? No, I didn't know anything about it. So I don't know who that was, Mike, that told you.
I have, I'm not gonna, I'll tell you. after.
No, that's fine. So I walked it, nothing. We had another one over by Rainbow's End, which we did. Ed went to that call, did find a tent down there, and it belonged to, it was a son of one of the residents of Castleton Meadows. So Ed's gonna follow up on that tomorrow, because the person wasn't there. And it wasn't on any private property. It wasn't on the property that the complaint came through. The one that owns 69 Rainbow's End, it wasn't even on his property, but the person had said that the person walked through. We thought it was somebody else who we called, and it wasn't that person. But we did find out who it is. So, but that's it. There's a lot of people walking around, people coming off the trails everywhere. They did have one person moved along. They were a transient. They were sleeping in the car by the Ice House parking lot. That was this weekend during the night. They moved them along. Sometimes on a green dump. That's another big place. So to answer your question, is it more than average? I don't know. But it's this time of year, it's warm weather, people. But I have not heard a lot of complaints. Well, our residents are pretty astute. Since we had that whole thing with Comcast vendors running around, they call us about anything, any strange person, car. We get probably 4 or 5 of those a week. Car sitting in a driveway that's nobody's there, or a car that's parked over there, you know, stuff like that. If they're awake and they check it out.
How about the old motorhome at Gulfland?
Yeah, that's actually, that was mentioned to Mr. Smith. He owns that whole, it's up to them. It's their property. We can't tell them to do anything. It's on private property.
Is somebody living in it? Or is it vacant?
Supposedly. We haven't made contact with them.
I've checked on it too, and I haven't seen anybody around it.
I
I didn't go
haven't
down to it, but.
Somebody said there's been a car there every now and again, but every time I go by, it's just the RV.
That's all I've seen is the RV.
Yeah. I mean, we knew who owned the property, so if it was on public property or town property, it's different. We can deal with it, but. And obviously, there's zoning issues, but I don't know what's, what that would be there, so. Huh?
If it's registered, there's nothing.
Yeah, I don't know, I didn't go down there and look at it.
Well, I know our UDR requires that, that an RV can only be inhabited for up to 2 weeks, and it has to be registered. So if somebody's treating it as a permanent domicile, then that's against our zoning regulations, or against our UDR.
Okay.
So that would make it enforceable that would have to be kicked off with our zoning department first.
They're dealing with a couple other ones in town right now that, people know about. They're making complaints about it, so she's looking into that one and see if there's any validity to it all, but it drags in a lot of extra riffraff, that's for sure, in this one particular place.
Any more questions for the chief? Thank you, chief.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Before he departs, does the board want us to request another, traffic study during, like, next year? It's probably too late this year to coordinate it, but, get it hit in that peak months, several places along the road, because I'm going to probably start coordinating with him, because he leaves in May.
Do we have to pay for it?
I don't believe we do. I don't want to commit to that one, but I'm pretty sure the answer will be no.
If we could get it for free and it was in June, July, or August, I think it would be valuable information.
I would say
It's been 10 years.
mid-July to early August, somewhere in that range.
It's been 10 years, so it wouldn't hurt to ask the question. Mr. Turner, I see you've had your hand up for a while, and I apologize for not noticing earlier. Is it something to do with some of the past two items on the agenda?
It unfortunately goes back to a parking thing. So just to clarify, is parking by the school right there in the center of town a public parking area?
It's overflow parking, private property, but overflow parking for their business.
I think he's talking about right out front here.
Where?
I thought somebody had referenced that there was parking available like outside where you guys are. That's right by the center of town, right?
What that specifically, Brad, what that is specifically is the gravel lot behind the yellow building that's currently housing the hair salon
Gourmet Goat.
and Gourmet Goat. There's 3 or 4 gravel parking spots there that were intended to be used for overflow parking for the Blue Cafe.
There's only 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah, and there was a temporary structure being built there that has since been dismantled.
Sorry, I thought there was like more of a parking area. I thought we should put up a public parking sign to let people know there's overflow there, but if it's only 3 spots, it's probably not worth the trouble.
That's not town property either, that's owned by the same person that owns the Blue Cat.
Did the town sell that? Did it?
Yes, yeah, after you brought it up the other night, I got into it and looked at it, and we did. I was on the board at the time, but it's been quite a few years. That's one of the properties that we did sell. Same time we sold the property to Bryce Taylor up on Coon Hill, or off Coon Hill. So I didn't remember doing that, but apparently that was one of the ones that we did. I don't know, I think Joe was chairman at the time.
Because we bought that when I was on the board, we bought that for the parking for the school because we didn't have enough up front.
I can't remember the details, but I know when I checked the tax maps and I looked at the, that's definitely owned by Mr. Rowland. He purchased that from the town. But you're right, at one point in time, we did own it. I do remember that for sure.
On the board when we bought it.
Okay, thanks. If it was public, I was just gonna say we should put a sign up on it so people can use it. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we're gonna move on, let's see, where are we? Contiguous property tax bills.
So this is for contiguous properties, for the same owner, that are owned by the same person. So I provided, a copy of the statute that was given to me by Mary Jo Teeter, our assessor. Because the question came up of properties that are contiguous are being put under one tax bill, and it's not required by law that it happen, that way. I talked to Mary Jo about it, and it was her understanding that it was law. Then when we read the statute, it says may, not shall or must. So it's up to, it's kind of the board if they want to make a policy, because she needs something to follow. I mean, I think that putting it on her lap to determine who can, who can't, who, you know, who it benefits, who it doesn't benefit, is very loosey-goosey for her. But so I provided a copy of the statutes for the board to read, and determine or think about going forward, how to handle that, whether or not they should be combined, or not should. I guess shall is not the word either. Combining them in one tax bill or keeping them separate. What's the policy that the town wants to direct her to do?
Well, I noticed when I got this copy of the statutes online that it didn't, or Title 32, Chapter 129, it did not, what you provided us did not include subchapter 004. So that's section 4152. And this kind of, you could read this, well, it says two different things here. It says in section 3, it says a brief description of each parcel of taxable real estate in the town. Parcel means all continuous land in the same ownership, together with all improvements thereon, period. Then it goes on, the next paragraph, to say the parcels may be combined to represent all continuous land in the same ownership, together with all the improvements thereon. So which is it? Does it mean it is all continuous land, period, contiguous land, period, or
It may be.
it may be combined? It says-
Maybe leaves it up to us.
Yeah, it says two different things here, though. See that? Rob?
I see that.
And that section was not included in the packet you gave us.
Okay.
So I went and found that because I knew I had read that already after I talked to Mary Jo about this. And so I wanted to make sure that everyone is clear on that. And subchapter 4 is very unclear.
Yeah.
And this is the statute. Do you agree with that, Charlie?
Yeah, well, some of what you just said is correct. But when this all started, the state had a meeting with all the listers and all the assessors 12 years ago, 10, 12 years ago. And they told them that every town, it was a law, that they had to add all the parcels together. So they did it. And I I contacted the state of Vermont and said, how are you doing this when some of the parcels had mortgages on them and some of the parcels don't? When you go to a bank and you gotta give them your information, it shows that instead of having a mortgage with 10 acres, they got a mortgage with 200 acres, because you gotta give them a copy of your tax bill. And you borrow money and you gotta do it every year after you borrow that money. They realized that it wasn't mandatory, but they didn't bother telling the town, so every town added all these together. Now, I'm gonna give you a quick example of what just happened to us. We just had a full-blown appraisal, okay? 5 years ago, I put my children on 2 of the parcels of land, okay? But we left the tax bill, so I contacted them this year to tell them I wanted to take that off. They raised, so if the towns, you're gonna lose a lot of money doing this, the town raised our assessment $99,900 for putting two family members on each deed. Raised our assessment, and we just had a full-blown appraisal. So I went through everything, and I figured everything out. Unimproved building lot is like 22,000, and an improved building lot's like 42,000. So what they had done was, when they added all my parcels, them 5 parcels together as one, they only were charging me for 1 improved building lot instead of 2, because there was 2 houses on it. okay? So I figured it out. I said it should be the difference between an unimproved building lot and approved building lot, which was $22,000. That's how much my assessment should have went up when I put their names on it. But their names were already on it for 5 years. I just didn't have the tax bills changed over. They raised us just shy, $100 shy of $100,000. And I brought it to their attention. Mike was at the meeting. They lowered it, she lowered it by $1,500 on one or $1,200 on one and $1,000 on the other one, something like that. Then, I'm supposed to be able to grieve that within 15 days. I never got it. She mailed it, but we never received it until the 15 days was up. So as soon as I got it that day, I took all my mail that day and I went to the postmaster in Fairhaven. Because even though we live in Castleton and have 3 post offices, our mail comes from Fairhaven, all of us. They gave us a letter, my wife and I a letter saying that they're sorry for the error because they've had a lot of problems. So I have that letter, but I missed my grievance because of it. And this is, you know, how can we just paid, I don't know if you guys paid them guys the balance, but we just had a full-blown appraisal a year ago, and it goes up $100 grand, $99,900. Just because we took them 2 lots that were already separated and I wanted a separate tax bill for each one of them. Which it's already a separate deed. It was subdivided 5 years ago. Now you tell me as a select board how that could even be legal. And you take all these towns, every town, not only just Castleton, every town that has all these parcels that are hooked together. If ours increased $90,000, how much money are in the assessments is the towns losing? Town of Castleton and every other town, because they're added together.
My personal opinion is that you shouldn't have the parcels added together like that to begin with anyway. I mean, I see where you're coming from with a loan, but one parcel is one parcel, whether you own 2 parcels that are next to each other or whether you own 15 parcels that are scattered about, you know. If you own 15 parcels that are scattered about town, do you get 1 tax bill?
They have to be contiguous.
They have to be contiguous.
Okay, yeah, so I would call it the same thing, whether they touch each other or not, it's still 2 separate lots.
And that's the way
It can still, when you sell it, you can still sell only one, but that's just me, and if, legally, if we don't have to do that, then I think it should be changed to that. That's my opinion.
Mark, do you have an opinion?
I think that Rob is probably correct, that Charlie's case in point is a good example, if I understand it correctly, that
I could show you.
2 individual parcels, each one with a home on it, is probably worth more than 1 parcel with 2 homes,
Absolutely.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
not very many people are going out saying, I'm looking for 2 homes side by side on the same piece of property.
And it's not on the same piece of property, they're separate deeds.
Right.
They are contiguous, right? They're next to each other.
They're next to each other.
Mary Lee?
Yes, they would be worth more individually.
Do you have any thoughts you'd like to share?
I kind of agree with Rob that I think the statutes aren't really clear. And it says one thing one way, and then if you read it again, it says just the opposite.
Well, I think this subchapter 4 is completely clear in the fact that it contradicts itself. That's the only thing that's clear about this statute, in my opinion, is it's contradictory with itself.
Another thing, Mike, did you give them copies of what I got today from you? Have they got copies?
Yes.
Okay, so look at your papers guide, every single one of them, okay? July 1 of 28 is when it goes into effect. Okay, if you go to the top first, I circled it, well, you didn't, yours is circled, mine is. Statutes below include the actions of 2025 session and General Assembly. That's when Act 181 that's when they were pushing to get Act 181. So how many of these parts that are in this right here are, go along with 181? A lot of this probably's gotta be gone because a third of 181 plus the 800-foot rule is gone now. If you go down through that page, you got, July 1 of 28. Go to the next paragraph down, July 1 of 28. You flip over to the next page. July 1 of 2037. Go down to the next paragraph, July 1 of 2037. So this thing is all over the place.
So, not that I'm questioning you, Charlie, because I know you know.
It's right there.
Yeah, I know, but I know you know way more about this than I do, but as far as the statute thing and splitting the parcels up, I would like to make sure that we can legally do it, and I'm not saying that we can't, but I personally don't know. But just make sure that we can legally do it, and my opinion would be, if we can legally do it, then all the parcels should be split, because it just doesn't make any sense to put the two together. That
Well, your grand list is gonna increase significantly.
that wouldn't even be, like, I wouldn't have even considered the two properties be put together if there's two separate deeds. I don't know why anybody would even think that's remotely close to being relevant to anything,
Well,
but,
when I called the state of Vermont when they first did this, they told me that it was legal. I said, no, it's not legal. If I wanna sell my parcel of land, any of the parcels of land that my wife and I own, I can only sell what's in that deed.
yeah.
I can't sell the one parcel we have, it had 200 and some acres, and it was on a 10.1 acre lot. They added everything together, and when we did the reappraisal, I went in and agreed my assessments and tried to explain to them, you got deeds that are down by the river that are on the same tax bill as my good land is up on top, okay? They're charging me the same amount per acre on land that the state says I can't use.
Mm-hmm.
And they wouldn't change it. It's the biggest scam that ever come down the pike.
So I think
But there's other cases too where it probably will reduce the value of the land. You know, I've got a lot, separate lot next to my house that's not big enough to build on. It probably increases the value of my home more than that lot would be worth by itself because you can't build on it.
No, it won't.
So in some cases, it will,
No, it won't, because they go on your house, when they do their appraisal, they go on your house and 2 acres of land or whatever size the parcel is. If it's a 1 acre lot, it's 1 acre, but anything over 2 acres is considered non-residential. So if you look at your tax bill, on anything over 2 acres of land, you're paying non-residential tax on. Every one of us. It's not just the people around the lake that are here part-time. Every bit of our land, except for our house and 2 acres of land, my wife and I pay non-residential tax on, every bit of it.
that's exactly what I'm saying. But this lot by itself would be worth less than the value it increases my home.
Absolutely it would be.
But
So
even.
in some cases, it would make the grand list go
But
down.
I still think if you've got two separate lots, they need to be separated, and that's, I don't know,
I
that's
think
where
if,
I'm
if
at.
we changed our policy and did this, I think Charlie's right that the grand list would go up. Overall.
Absolutely.
I mean, there are parts-
I can show you
There's,
what just happened.
yeah, we're not, I think we're on the same page here, but, you know, there's a few places where it would go down. And you may have cited a good example, but generally speaking, the values would go up.
His property by the river
Yeah.
would go down.
Agreed. So this statute, this subchapter 004 is clear as mud, in my opinion. But I'm not a lawyer. So can the VLCT help get an opinion on this, Mike?
I'll start with them. What they can't do, they'll defer us to our town attorney anyway.
Because this is just plain not clear.
Do we
I mean,
have any idea?
Charlie,
how
when you
many-
did you read subchapter 004 and Title 32?
Yeah, I didn't give it to him today, so.
Yeah,
The
it's
last one,
subchapter 004, it's section 4152 is clear as mud. It contradicts itself. One section it says all parcels are all contiguous land, and then the next one it says they may be combined. It's not clear, in my opinion.
Because a lot of people, not only myself, when they did this originally, everybody, a lot of people called the state of Vermont and said, this isn't legal, you can't do this. You can't make it, man, you cannot say that this is law. And that's probably when that wording went in there.
Yeah, it's not clear in my opinion, so we're gonna have to get it clarified, and then this board will be,
If you hire a lawyer, if you hire 10 of them, you're gonna get 10 different answers. So, pretty simple.
I just need one that's willing to argue it, that's all.
Yeah, exactly.
so, I guess that's the thing, we're gonna have to kick this up to the legal beagles and then see what kind of opinions we get back. Because, I mean, you read this too, Rob, you see?
I did, yeah,
It
it's-
does not agree with itself.
One it says you have to, 3 lines down it says you may, so it's,
And it's on the same piece of paper?
I really find it hard to believe that they would force everybody to put the 2 lots together when they're not it's 2 separate things, I mean, but, you know?
I just went to Pulteney and split 3 lots from 1 to 3, because I didn't want it that way. And they got the same person in Pulteney that's in Castleton doing it, so.
Is that 1 lot now?
No, I took it from, I had 3 parcels, and they were taxing me as 1. I told them I didn't want 1 parcel, I wanted 3, I want the way it was purchased, and that's the way it is now. The tax bills I got, that was the way they did it.
Mary, you wanna come up? So the mic will pick you up?
Yeah, Mary McIntyre. We were in that situation very young when we bought our house and built our house, and then we had the opportunity to buy the building lot next door. Rester sold, Bev Mayo called me one day and said, oh, those have got to be combined, it'll lower your taxes. But what it did do is it caused a lot of confusion. We're still doing it that way because at the time it just was done. But then when Fire District 3 came in and put the water in, we only got 1 water hookup. We never got a water hookup for that vacant lot, that deeded property. So it causes a lot of confusion in general. To read that is confusion, but it's gonna be a pain in the butt when we go to, if we sell those 2 separate lots, the one with the house on it and the empty one. And, because those people are probably gonna want water. And they did put something in, because we fought it after we found out that they never put a water access in that, but that was a whole battle in itself, and then they put something in our line, so they will get some access, but it won't be the same. So I don't even know what that battle's gonna look like. But, yeah, it really did happen, and we never paid a lawyer. It just, Bev just called me and said, oh, it'll save you in your taxes. And we were young and stupid and, okay. But anyway,
That's why a lot of people did it, because they thought they were gonna save a little money. But everybody gets old, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm getting old, and I wanna make sure that if something happens to me, I want my family to know what we own. And I don't wanna have them go through and have to spend $100,000 with lawyers to figure out what we own.
Mm-hmm.
well, at the time, this was a town official telling us
Yeah,
what we had to do.
absolutely,
What we had to
absolutely,
do.
they did it,
Yeah.
because of the state of Vermont said, everybody, it's mandatory. And when they started, people like myself started calling up there and saying, this is wrong, you can't do that, that's when they started backing off.
Okay, we're gonna move on. Now, Mike, you're gonna have to explain to me what the late property tax grievance filings is about.
This is, in particular, the one with Mr. Brown's property that he brought to my attention that he didn't receive the notice until like 7 days after. They mailed it on the 25th of June, is what I think you have the paperwork that shows that. And then it got there a week late, and then and Charlie went out to Fairhaven to get the post office to give him a piece of paper saying that the mail was screwed up and, but Mary Jo, her argument was if he got it a week late, then he still had 7 days, or, because it was 14 days, I think is what you get, that he could have filed. So that's her stance, not mine.
So we've been down this road already with grievances this year with was it Windy Hollow?
Correct.
The select board has no jurisdiction, I don't believe, over the grievances. We could make a recommendation that the BCA accept his late grievance, but I think that's where we landed on the last one.
That is where
Was
we
our
landed on the
decision.
last one. So we got the state to, somebody, the LCT perhaps, opined that the select board had no jurisdiction over that. But we did make a recommendation that the BCA hear that late appeal. And the BCA agreed to do that. So just to make sure I've got the chronology right, Charlie, you received the letter after the 15 days was up?
The same day, the 15 days was up. It might have been the day.
You received it after 15 days, or not 7 days?
No, I got it, I went out, I took it out there and I got the letter. It took them 2 or 3 days because the postmaster said she had to check with her bosses. And then we got the letter.
I don't want to screw up the stories, because when I met with you, Charlie, I thought you said you got on the 9th. It was like a week, you said a week after.
I called you, remember, beforehand and told you that I just got it.
Yeah, I think it was around the 9th. You said it was a week late. So that's what I've been using as a reference. And that's why I said, I went to Mary Jo and said,
Yeah, I just got the letter from them 4 days ago, 5 days ago.
yeah, no, I'm not doubting that. I think this was two different things, but
So do you recall when you got the letter from the town?
It was right around the same time that it was supposed to have been due, because I said to the postmaster, how am I gonna grieve this now? Because of the letter, the date that I picked it, that we got it in the mail, and what I did was I took all my mail that I got that day, out to them.
So am I understanding correctly, you got the notice on the day that the grievance, the last day you could have grieved? Is that correct?
That was actually the day before that.
Okay.
Then I went out to the post office with it, because we got it on a Saturday, so I went out on a Monday. Got all the mail on a Saturday, went out on a Monday.
the 9th of July was
Mike,
14th.
if you remember right, I contacted you,
Yeah, the 9th is,
and we were gonna get together, and you never did.
the 9th of July would have been the 14th day. That's where I got the 9th from.
So what you're saying is you really didn't have any time to respond, or think about it to respond. Is that correct?
No, I didn't have time to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And why
asking.
did- And why did this was done, all this stuff was done with our stuff in January. Why did they wait? Why did our assessor wait until 2 weeks before you were gonna do the tax rate? Before we got anything to begin with? I called at least 3 times to Mary Jo and asked her, how come we hadn't got it yet? When I did mine in Pulte, I got it, bam.
When you asked for a grievance,
No, I didn't agree with it. I wanted see what my assessments were gonna be, okay, because they hadn't done it. And I called her, I said, I'd like to get that done. Because I asked her in April for Pulte, and I didn't get it until middle of May. But Castleton, we didn't get it for a month later.
Well, I think her grievances ended on the 19th of June, if I remember correctly. She only had one.
Because I grieved it once. I grieved it. Mike was there at the meeting, right, Mike?
Yep.
But I didn't get what she had done, what she had finally done, until that's the one that came late.
yeah, so June 19th was her, June
$1,200 off on one and whatever on the other.
So what I'm making sure I understand this correctly, you didn't have the appropriate window to grieve it to the BCA?
Absolutely.
Okay.
June 25th.
And I make a motion that we suggest to the BCA to hear this grievance.
You can make that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Because once again, the board, this board doesn't have the authority to do that.
I understand.
So any more discussion on this topic?
Just one more. So Charlie, this was postmarked to you June 4th, is that correct?
I can't remember, June.
Mary Jo, there's one in there that says June 25th. That's the one that she
Let's
pointed
see,
out.
June 25th. It was later June. I should have brought it with me because everything's right on.
There's two of them in your packet. One says June 4th and one says June 25th. I don't know what the June 4th one is.
The first one was the 4th, that's the one then on the 25th is when I met, or we met, like you were with me.
Yeah, I don't remember the date. I remember the date on the form was the 25th. When she met, that's when she went to the post office and got a certificate of mailing was the 25th.
She mailed it on the 25th of June.
Yeah. And that's in your packet.
And you received it,
13 or 14 days later, and it was on a weekend, I received it. Saturday, and then I went right out to the post office on Monday and made sure I could get a letter, and then I talked to Mike.
I'm prepared to support Mary Lee's recommendation. I don't know if you have anything more to add, Mark.
no, I was just trying to get it clear in my head. There's a lot of paper.
I think that it's safe to say from a lot of different stuff that's happened that the postal service isn't as on time as they used to be. And this is what screws it up when you have these deadlines that need to be met by a certain period of time and stuff doesn't get there.
Yep.
So in all fairness to Mr. Brown, I'm gonna ask, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Aye. So we will write a letter to the BCA suggesting or recommending that they hear your grievance.
And do I grieve to Mary Jo, or wait till you guys, they decide what they're gonna do?
To the BCA.
The BCA will have to have a meeting to consider this, and that's when we would ask you to participate.
Is the select board still on the BCA?
Yes,
I am.
yes. But the BCA is, the select board and all the JPs.
It used to be mandatory that all select board members.
We are members of the BCA,
Just depends on who goes that day.
Right,
but it's also all the justice of the peace.
yeah, I know that. Well,
So we will have to convene a BCA meeting to discuss, to consider this, okay?
Now, are these on your contiguous lots?
That aren't contiguous anymore.
no, these are separate lots.
These ones are separate?
They're separated.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on. VTel Wireless.
Get a hand up.
Brad?
Yeah, hi, just on the same thing like Rob said, the post office has new standards. In Lexington, Massachusetts, they have a sign posted in the lobby. The delivery timeline has totally changed. I was gonna ask, we ran into similar problems getting notifications on the property tax grievance as well. We didn't hit the deadline, but we gave a very, very short turnaround. We were scrambling to try to turn on. I don't think it's fair that the time span hasn't changed, but the post office has changed its standards. People are getting late notices, and it's very difficult sometimes to turn it around. I think the date for responding needs to be lengthened, given the new postal standards.
Well, you can lobby the State House on that one.
'Cause that's written.
You don't control it?
No, that's in statute.
That's unfortunate.
I think what we're I'll get with Mike and Mary Jo, and we'll find out exactly how much latitude we have that. If we can send out notices a few weeks earlier than we have been. You know, if we have that option, maybe we should consider a change in town policy. I don't know if we have that option or not, but let's find out.
Yeah, no, I think I gave you the chart that was that was taken from the Secretary of State's office. So we'd have to probably look at that and see if it's something that's statutorily regulated, or is there flexibility for the town
Yeah,
to do
let's
something?
find that out. At this point in time, I'm not prepared to say one way or the other.
Okay, great, thank you.
Just one more question, if I could. Is the board gonna look into these dates on this, these dates? I mean, like I said, you got 2037 dates on here. You got, 20, if you look at what you got there, something, you got 2028, you got, July 1 of 2037.
I'm not seeing where he's seeing that.
Read it back.
You wanna help me out here, Charlie? I'm not seeing that.
I got two copies left here. Actually, I got 3 copies. See right here,
Yep,
2037, 2037.
yep.
2028, 2037. So Same thing.
I may not have what you've got in your hands, Charlie, that's why I'm,
Well, that's what I was wondering, because I copied the whole thing.
Yeah, I don't
So
have that
28?
subchapter.
37.
okay.
I'll get you a copy, Mary.
Where's it, what's it out of?
You just gave it to me.
It's the
That's the one I
stat,
gave you today?
That's
yeah,
what I
it's
gave
Title
you today.
32, Chapter 129, Subchapter 004.
No, I have it on my computer. It's the one that Mary Jo mailed to me. Which I'm surprised is not the one you have, because that's the one I
I
emailed
mean,
to
that's
Jenny.
what they should have had, that same one that I got today.
I think what I gave the board is, I gave you more than just the one Mary Jo sent me. I found other statutes in there, and I copied those as well.
Well, I'm definitely gonna do some more homework.
Charlie, can I keep this?
Absolutely. I made copies for you guys.
All right, now we're gonna move on to VTel Wireless. So they have the same issue with the,
They're appealing.
they're within the timeline though. So this is a appeal to the BCA, correct?
Correct.
So why is this in front of the select board?
I'm reading what was on the agenda. Appeal of tax valuation of communications property.
Is this just to let us know that they're appealing it?
Yeah, this
This has
this
to
is
go-
not action for you. This is,
This has to go to the BCA.
right, Mary Jo wanted to make sure that you guys knew about that.
It would appear, it appears they grieved it and, what was it, somebody,
They denied it. I mean,
yeah, the PVR.
Yeah.
Is this for the cell towers?
Yeah.
Communications towers, yeah.
Yeah, so this is actually not in the BCA.
No, this goes to, this
wheelhouse.
is, looks like it's going to Superior Court.
This is going to, yeah, this is not in the BCA's wheelhouse.
Right.
However, your issue is.
Well, their letters are addressed in the,
Yeah, I think it's just letting us know that this is going to
right.
Because we don't have any
Superior Court.
authority over it.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't understand why, I didn't talk to Mary Jo, last week about this when it got put on the agenda by Jenny. I don't know if she gave it to you to show you what the implications would be to the grand list.
I think that's probably it.
If they were to win their case. Because those communications, properties jumped exponentially.
And that's, I'm sure this is not just Castleton that's dealing with this. I'm sure
Oh,
that
this
it's
is statewide.
Yeah.
every tower in the state now.
Yeah, this was statewide, this was going to Superior Court. I will make sure it's not in the BCA's wheelhouse, though I don't think it is.
No, I think that's completely regulated by the state.
I'll double check on that, though. All right, I'm gonna move on to position vacancies. Mike, that's your bailiwick.
I'm pretty sure that everyone knows that the town clerk position was announced, or advertised, not announced, announced and advertised. We also have the health officer still that has not been filled. And now Jenny Cannell has resigned to move on back into the legal field, where she came from. And then I got a letter today, or an email today from Brianna, who has resigned as the minute taker, because her job in Virgin says she's taking on more responsibility up there, so she, between now and time school starts again, she's gonna be busy with that, so she said there's no time. And I read, you saw the letter today.
Yeah.
So we're looking at some vacancies here that, and we also know about well, I guess advertising the health officer, the zoning administrator, and a code enforcement person. And so that still has to get out there, but
You haven't had any luck with that?
I haven't even posted it yet. I did let the zoning administrator know, I think I shared that with you as well, that she's like, yep, I get it. I can't commit the time, and it deserves more time than I can commit to it anyway. And then the health officer, that whole story, Jim passed away.
We got one now.
Yeah, we got one, but by statute, he is there. But, and then the clerk. We have one viable candidate. The other ones that have applied were not Castleton residents, so there was 3 of them, and they're not eligible. So we got one Castleton resident. We did a phone interview, just to make sure that the person knew what they were applying for and understood that, and which they did. So now we've got a in-person interview coming up. I think it's it was all timing between her availability, Jan's availability, to be able to sync that up. So I think it got pushed out to like the 5th of August.
And when is Jan done?
She's gonna stay on through the August primary elections. She's working 1 day a week on property records, inputting property records, and she's working the election. So she's gonna stay on and to not leave us in a lurch with the election.
Well, we need to figure out what we're gonna do with these positions.
Yeah, it's, there's some things I want to address with the board in executive session that would put us at a disadvantage, I guess, if we talked about it
Yep.
openly.
Anything else on the vacancies for now?
No.
No. Justice of the Peace, general election list to be on the ballot?
Yeah, so on the back, there's a list of the JPs, and again, this is being pushed by Jan. She said that they have to get this list published so it shows up on the ballot.
So we just need to make a motion to approve these Justice of the Peaces to be put on the back of the general election ballot.
Correct.
That's my motion.
Is that your motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Stormwater Project.
Tyler Technologies.
Oh, Tyler, thank you, sir. Mark, you're up.
So we discussed this at our last meeting. We could talk about it all night, and we're not gonna be 100% happy with the results, but they have completed the terms of the contract. They went back and did the assessor's book. That was the biggest thing that we were missing. I talked to John Valente and told him the conversation we had. He sent an email. I forwarded it to you guys, but not until this evening. You all have it now, but I'll read it to you. It says, "Hi, Mark. This is to confirm what we agreed on during our conversation this afternoon. Tyler will be pleased to be available for any questions regarding the reassessment until the next reassessment. Our work will be in the nature of answering assessment questions using the phone or remote Zoom calls. Should you need additional extensive on-site consulting services, data collection, appeal defense, or court defense, we would be happy to provide those services, but there would be additional fees as outlined in our proposal. Based on this pledge of assistance, you will release final payment to Tyler Technologies within 3 weeks. That was essentially what we had agreed on at the last meeting.
That is.
As much as I don't want to, they fulfilled their contract, so we don't have any choice.
That's my feeling. I mean, there were some positive things from the reappraisal. Our CLA went down. You know, so everyone saved on their taxes, a small amount on school tax. It's gonna certainly bite us again next year because they bought down a big chunk of it, but that's neither here nor there. I went over this extensively with Mary Jo. Again, the Lister book was the big thing that she wanted. She got it. She's not really interested. She doesn't feel that there's anything that productive that could happen if someone came back here for 2 weeks right now. She believes that there will be issues that come up over the course of the year. But they've agreed to be available for consultation for those. So this has fulfilled everything that Mary Jo wants. And everything, every time I talk to Tyler, they go, you tell us anything specific that we didn't do, and we'll send someone right up to do it. So, given the situation that we're in, and we've talked it a lot, we need to finish this up. So I would like to make a motion that we send Tyler Technologies payment for their final invoice.
As long as they follow the stipulations that,
As long as they follow the stipulations contained in this email.
Are we gonna have a written agreement, a written contract, or written something other than your email that they are going to do this? Am I making myself clear?
No, you're making yourself clear. I thought this was what we agreed on. John said, what do you need? And I said, just send me an email that you're agreeing to do this.
The email is legally binding in this case, right?
I would say it's legally binding in this case.
Which is what you're looking for.
That's what I'm looking for, yes.
Yeah, so in this day and age, emails are considered legally binding. If they send us an email saying that they're going to do this, then they are obligated to do this.
One thing is, the town should respond to them too, acknowledging that you accept it. Because if it just got thrown out there and there's no answer to
needs,
that.
the town
Yeah,
of
right now it's
Castleton
just
needs
you
to
and him.
respond that we accept
Yeah.
that. So maybe he should send that email, I don't know if it went to the whole town or not, but that should get sent probably to Mike.
It did.
Okay.
He'll, not until just before this meeting, but he'll have it in his email right now.
Yeah, I saw it just before I came.
And then Mike should respond.
Yep. Based on this pledge of assistance, you will release final payment within 3 weeks. So I think that us releasing final payment in 3 weeks also acknowledges this. But I agree, the town should respond to it.
So we have a motion, do we have a second?
Not happy about it, but I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye. Under protest.
yeah, doesn't taste good, does it?
I'm not thrilled about it either, but we can't drag this along all fall.
Why? We've dragged everything else all fall.
We gotta start chipping some of this, some of this stuff has to be finished up at the end of the night.
So let's talk about stormwater. So we have to change the plan because somebody decided not to grant an easement
Correct.
to put the storm drain, so now we have to put it on town property, which is the driveway next to the library.
Correct.
Now, will that do anything significant to the timeline or to the cost?
It will not. The way that the bid contract, or the bid packet was put together, they have to have it back in by the 6th or 7th of August, because the next meeting was on the 10th. So it doesn't change their timeline. They'll still get, they still get like 5 extra days. because they have to, Fuss and O'Neill had to make the changes, they have to put out the addenda to it, and we've walked the dog with the timelines, and it still gives them an extra 5 days to,
You had, what, 5 or 6 contractors at the pre-bid meeting, or more?
probably 6 total.
Yeah, so now the timeline for them to bid is out in sometime in mid-August?
I had to respond to that today to say, yes, that's acceptable. So the addenda will go out, it was gonna go out this afternoon, so, yeah.
Did that happen?
I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the email, but doesn't mean it didn't go out.
Yeah, so you did respond to them, though?
I did,
already?
yeah.
All right.
In writing, I wrote it in an email.
So it's still possible that this project could be done this fall?
Right, yeah, it doesn't change the end timeline, it's still before, the asphalt plant's closed on Thanksgiving, 2026.
So what action does this board need to take tonight?
Nothing. It's just knowing that it's no longer an easement through private property, it's on town property.
It's probably better this
I'd
way.
rather have it on town property, just keep our
was-
stuff to ourselves.
Well, I think that the board and myself were sympathetic to the landowner not losing that screening between the two properties, between the library and the rec center and the neighboring property, so, but now that they don't want it, then
There's no choice, that's where we
if
have to
if it
go.
kills a tree, we're still gonna do our damnedest to not, but
Right.
if it did, then they're on our property.
And when the town has to dig it up in 50 or 100 years, they'll own it.
Right. And it puts one less structure in the ground, so it costs less in the long run.
True. So here's a heavier lift. Let's talk about a restaurant bar license for Lake Bomoseen Hospitality.
Would make a motion to approve a third-class restaurant bar license for Lake Bomoseen Hospitality, doing business as the Lake House Pub and Grill.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain on that one.
So you got 3 ayes and an abstention.
Mike, just to be clear, when they reach us, the police department's already signed off on it?
Police and
tax
the
department.
taxes, yeah.
Good.
Correction of the town report. So if I understand this correctly, in our 164th town report, we misspelled a gentleman's last name with 1 letter off. And so the right way to fix this, since it's an official town record, is to add into our 165th town report a correction for that misspelling, is that?
Errors and omissions, and that's coming from our attorney.
Okay.
But the letter, did you guys get the copy of the letter from the individual, right?
So we just need to correct it,
And the right way to correct it is to, in the next town report,
put in errors and omissions.
put in errors and omissions, and they're correcting the mistake so that it's officially changed in perpetuity.
I went back and looked, his name was in there twice, and it was spelled correctly in one place and incorrectly in another.
So we're just gonna have to add a correction in our next town report.
But I just wanted, you saw the letter, so, his argument, I don't know if that comes into play or not, about being just an administrative function or administrative, like I can just go in there and change the town report.
But according to our attorney, that's not the correct way to do this.
Correct, because you approved it, it got published, it was disseminated that way, and she's, just like an error in the paper, you do errors and omissions or correction in the paper, and it usually comes out in the next publication. Well, we publish once a year, so the next publication would be,
Yeah, just do it the legal way.
yeah.
So this board needs to take no action except remember that we need to fix this. And I'm looking at the man who's probably gonna be responsible to tell us that we need to fix it.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it gets put on our schedule so that we make sure it goes in there. Because in the last 8 years, we've never had an errors and omissions, so it's not like it's going to stand out. So I want to make sure that when I go back, we put it in the calendar so it pops up at us, in January saying, make the correction.
I could write it down in my filing system, but probably it's gonna end up in a manila folder in my file cabinet, and I'm not gonna remember it in a year, so.
It'll go on our calendar.
Yeah, let me text my wife right now and just tell her, remember next year for the town.
Do we have a select board secretary or select board clerk?
No,
That's the one that's, oh, yes.
Just a thought.
no,
Can you remember to do this?
probably not.
I think we should give her a demerit for not noticing the
Spelling. Yeah, she's our grammar
Two demerits, because it
expert.
was spelled right one place and wrong the other, so two demerits.
Okay, when do you want to know this?
January 15th.
November, December, January 15th, which is a Friday,
Oh, what's the first select board meeting in January?
the 11th.
Okay, the 11th. My sister's birthday.
Okay, now, what do I gotta put? Errors and omissions.
What is it, January 15th?
January 11th is the select board meeting.
January 15th was arbitrary, probably, just to.
Yeah, I just picked a date.
Yeah.
But the 11th is the select board meeting, it makes more sense.
January 11th. Okay. So how much time do you need?
That's it. Just by the 11th is fine.
But you won't get it on the agenda if I don't call you until the 11th.
Correct. So
So
by
I should
Thursday, the
call you
Thursday prior.
Thursday.
And
Okay.
I just made a note to put it on our calendar too.
Well, we'll see how good my wife does come January 11th.
Okay, so we're gonna move on to manager's report.
At this point, I've sent you guys so much emails and stuff like that. Just the big projects, they didn't work today, or at least they weren't working this morning when I went down to the sidewalk project, but they were supposed to start pouring concrete by the end of this week. The paving project.
Hold on, did you wanna go on the stormwater project thing? Did you wanna discuss this one? The Fabian thing? This was something you sent us this afternoon that said didn't.
Oh,
make
yes,
it.
the stormwater.
Oh, that's right, my apologies.
Yep, sorry. So we're backing up to that.
For the catch
Yeah.
basin?
So the two catch basins that are in that quote are the ones on Elm Street, that are outside of the project area for VTRANS, so they did not rehab those. But those two they're tied into the stormwater system that we're gonna be working on, so they really should get rehabbed and done.
And one of these is the one that Heath and Mike pieced together.
Yeah, so nobody saw those, I have pictures somewhere. They, when they poured it, they put a form in there and they poured it around the pipes. So the pipe is supposed to be replaced between the two, so you're gonna tear it apart anyway, so it's kind of a moot point, but, if we weren't gonna do that, it might last another 5 years, it could last another 10 years. But, it was just it's small, it's not sized for that, it was just to get us through a Band-Aid to when we could get it replaced. And Mike and Heath were quick to point out that they said, 3 years, you said, make something last for 3 years. So
That was 3 years ago.
And these were on the ones that we were gonna have to do as a whole group, but the state stepped in and took over part of those for us, correct?
correct.
And when they did that, I think it was a patch on a previous patch.
Who, them? Oh, yeah, it was ugly. When they dug that up, it was pretty ugly.
Yeah.
It didn't look like it was, it looked like
It wasn't the first time.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're talking about the ones Mike and Heath did.
No, was this,
What's that?
go ahead.
The whole storm, there's another storm drain that's a stone one that's on, the north side of Kerry Fowler's entrance into the business, or south side, not north, on the south side. And that one, gets overwhelmed, but it doesn't drain into these. Otherwise, probably would have looked at that one as well, because they tie together, but they're not tied together. It runs back toward, Kerry's property, back towards, the Blue Cat area.
No, was this grant money?
No, that's ours.
This is ours?
Yeah.
Well, we have funding for this.
It's in the stormwater, we put 10,000, we put 15 this year, but it's built up over time for the village. That's what it was designed for, and that's what it's gonna get used in.
And it's actually significantly.
We don't have any choice, we have to do it.
No, and the grant is paying for a lot of that stuff, so it's not even, the money that we had is, you know, is being used to our share towards the big project. And there's enough left over where we can still rehab the ones that we were supposed to
Good.
anyway, so.
And
Yeah, let's not kick this down the road.
Because Peckham took care of some of the ones that were on Main Street, we actually are spending less money than we originally planned.
Yeah, it's half.
Yeah.
Went from 80,000 to 80,000 something to 49, I think is what
Your
that.
recommendation is we hire Fabians to do this,
Yeah,
and they're certainly qualified.
they did the work on the other ones.
Yeah.
Do you need a motion for that?
Please.
I'd make a motion that we direct the town manager to have Fabian earth moving do the storm drain project on Elm Street, replacing 2 catch basins and piping, for the sum of $42,770.
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Any more discussion? All in favor?
I,
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, I'll let them know tomorrow. It's gonna take, they said it'll take probably 2 to 3 weeks to get the structures in, you know, ordered and in.
Yeah, well, we know that they're competent, so. If you pull the trigger and we stay out of their way, they'll get it done. I pretty have faith in that firm.
They will.
Okay, any more questions for the town manager specific to his report?
Did anybody come over South Street today?
I did not. I meant to, and
Did you
then,
go over to the trestle area?
You did a beautiful job.
He
Yeah.
did a really nice job.
And that guy was, remember him being in here, Josh Cohen?
yep,
And new guy just started out his business, and I think he did an excellent job.
You did a really nice job.
he reminds me a lot of another young guy I've hired down on the project in Wells that, trying to start a business and doing a very good job of starting a business. He's been doing excellent work.
I rode through it Sunday just to christen it. They did a nice job.
This is the first project, I think, since I've been on the board that we haven't heard multiple issues with going on, like, oh, we ran into this problem and that problem, and
It was pretty
Right, that's the
seamless.
one we were afraid of, that a lot of
Yeah.
the contractors didn't want to do it, because
Yeah,
they said
nobody-
those bridge abutments
Yeah.
were gonna be a problem, but they did a beautiful job.
good.
And
So,
then the other part of the report is Cedar Mountain Road, the job that the highway crew did on Cedar Mountain Road, if you've been out there to see that. And the pleasant surprise for the members of the highway crew were that the residents on Cedar Mountain Road were very easy to work with. Despite some of the tumultuous stuff in the past, they actually were very decent to work with. So that project is done.
I haven't been up there yet because it was busy over the weekend and I didn't want to go driving up through there with all the people around, but did we fix the problem in front of house place?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, and so that whatever, that $5,700 hammer that the board authorized, that we took our chances on, has paid for itself. Of course,
They extended that ditch a long ways down on the north side of the road,
yeah,
put a couple culverts in, 2 culverts.
there's 3 culverts total
3.
over there.
Some of those driveways that, were probably not permitted, people just put a driveway into the north side and the water ran down there. They all have culverts underneath them. They did a really nice job.
Good. I'll have to take a ride up.
And they also, one of the comments was it's gonna be easier for them to maintain it in the winter. So it's always been a struggle out there.
Well, if
Bouncing
they
off trees.
don't have to go up there and sand that one spot every other day, when the water's running through a front door, then
Yep. And then the hammer, they had some places along, Creek Road that they had to take some ledge out, and so they're doing that as well. So that thing is, things that they couldn't do in the past, that we didn't have the tools to do it without renting something. So it's definitely paid for itself.
that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We need to hear more of that too.
yeah, because that unit was cheaper than we were gonna pay to have somebody come in and remove the one ledge on Moscow Road.
Yeah. Yep. And
I was wrong about that. I didn't think that thing would hold up, but I looked at it the other day. Of course, I think Mike takes care of it.
He does, yeah, he's
It
meticulous.
doesn't show anywhere, really.
And he's definitely qualified to use it, so.
Yep, you know about the stormwater, the village stormwater project. We have a meeting coming up on August 6th, is it, up at East Crystal Haven, or West Crystal Haven with state stormwater, or state A&R folks,
The warrants.
attorney, Vermont Leagues of Cities and Towns, and a
Got them all
contractor.
now?
Talk about Tom Kearns, the fix for Tom Kearns' place. So hopefully that brings some closure on what needs to happen, and Tom accepts it, and we can get past that one as well.
It would be nice to lay that to rest.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to purchase orders.
I would make a motion to approve purchase order number 055777 to Ferguson Waterworks for the sum of $3,482.80, and that is for culverts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Make a motion to approve purchase order number 056092 to Plouffe Boiler and Mechanical Service for the sum of $11,729, and that's for backflow preventers in the public service building in the fire
Second.
department.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Did we get that all taken care of with the state now too?
Yep, we're good.
Rick Hall's happy?
That's my job in life, to keep Rick going. Yes, he got what he needed to keep the state off his back.
He's
Okay.
happy about that.
Yes.
Would make a motion to approve purchase order number 056110 to Rec Desk LLC for the sum of $3,500, and that's for the Parks and Rec management software.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Ready for warrants, Dick?
Yep.
Make a motion to approve warrant number 0724 for the sum of $63,930.19. Warrant number 0727 for the sum of $81,314.53. Warrant number 0716P for the sum of $28,142.48. Warrant number 716P2 for the sum of $1,407.41, and warrant number 0723P for the sum of $30,422.30.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
5?
5. Thank you.
You're welcome. I didn't do anything, you did. I just handed it to him.
Select board comments. Mary Lee?
Yeah, I got a couple. Joe and I have been working on the town plan.
Yep.
Do you want that to come on Wednesday? What we've done is I got a clean copy, and I've written on just what we're doing, not any complaints or where we think something should be different. Just grammar and stuff like that, indentions, that's all we've done. And I'm making one clean copy that, I don't know if you want it to be given to the planning commission, or we want to look at all the things, or it's not as important as the other stuff that we need to discuss.
Well, that's not what the meeting on Wednesday will be about, but I think you should bring your annotated copy with you so that you can at least
Okay.
give us an update on what the status of that is and how much you found, not necessarily specifically where, what words are spelled wrong or whatever, but, that it's either complete
Okay.
or 80% done, and this is, approximately how much you found.
Well, I just got the last thing from Joe today, and I'm on page 37 out of,
Yeah, so even if it's not complete,
Okay.
even if your end isn't complete, you could at least, be prepared to give us a status update. Does that make sense, Rob?
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll worry about the substantive issues on the meeting on Wednesday.
okay, and the other thing, I don't know this, I'm asking, I couldn't look it up, I tried. Was the June 2nd meeting properly warned? According to Dr. Thomas, it may not have been for the Planning Commission. And I tried to look it up and I didn't find anything, but maybe it's just me.
June 2nd?
Yeah, June 2nd. I think that's the date on the sheet. I think that's when they approved it to give it to us. And I didn't know how to find it.
I'll try while you guys are finishing up here.
Well, none of us obviously are prepared to answer that, but we can get an answer.
Yeah, because if he's right and it wasn't properly done, that changes everything.
Yeah, that changes the whole timeline
Has
again.
to be they have to redo it and everything with the town.
Mm-hmm.
And putting that on there as an action item for me.
That's all I've got.
Rob?
I don't have anything, but I just wanted to, Charlie, I don't know, Wednesday night at 6:30, there's a meeting to review the town plan.
I thought it was 6.
I thought it was 6:30,
6:30, I think.
Okay, I'm wrong.
just to,
And that's a joint meeting of Planning Commission and Select Board, and that's a
Everybody.
public meeting. Mark?
I wanted to circle back around that 2013 dump truck that we had talked about selling. I don't think that we came to a final decision. Was there a policy about when the town sells?
Yeah, that's on me. I was supposed to look at that policy, and I did not.
Yeah, April and October. Or the two, that's what the
Is
policy
that
is.
on the town website?
It
we
is.
were gonna look to see if we could deviate from that.
Yeah.
Is that policy on the town website? And I will get off my tail
Okay.
and do that. Okay, I have nothing that haven't already talked about, so we're gonna go to action items. Let's see, contiguous properties, that's Mike and I are gonna work on that with, VLCT and maybe our attorney to find out what the interpretations are, and I'm gonna do a little more reading that Charlie gave us some more information. More to follow on that. I'm gonna check with Mary Jo to find out about the change for timelines, or no, the VCA Wireless appeal and who has jurisdiction over that, and should the town be doing anything, or are we supposed to allow, or is that supposed to be entirely under state jurisdiction? We don't know that yet.
That was weird too, because it had a place for us to sign on it.
So once again, we need to find out what we don't know. Let's see, what else have I got? Rob and Mary Lee are gonna make sure that we don't forget about the town report errors and omissions on January 11th.
No, my wife's gonna make sure that I don't forget.
Rob and Mary Lee are gonna make sure. Let's see. Mike and I are gonna research on whether the January or June 2nd planning commission meeting was properly warned, and I'm gonna look at the policy for the sale of town property again, so that we can actually decide what to do with that 2013 dump truck. That pretty well sum it up?
Yeah, if we have to change it, we should change that policy so that we can sell stuff whenever. I don't know why it was spring and fall, but.
Well, I'm gonna read that policy and probably make sure that you guys have access to it as well, so that we can all be prepared to discuss that the next select board meeting, if we need to change the policy. And what the rationale was behind that, because I remember going through that a few years back, but I don't remember why that was the way it was, and it may have dated back before even I was on the board, I don't know. Charlie, the policy for sale of town property, we can only sell it in the spring and the fall, and we couldn't sell something in the summer.
That must have been something after when I was on the board.
And I think it might have been before I was on the board, so.
You could sell it when you wanted to.
I think it only makes sense that if we want to sell a dump truck, now would be the time to sell it. Okay, that's all we got. I think we're out of agenda items, except do we need an executive session?
Please, for contracts and personnel, but contracts first.
Sorry, before you go on, can I just add one more
Good night,
thing?
Charlie.
Sorry.
You look at whether the time frame for mailings could be extended, whether that was like a state thing or whatnot, right?
Oh, yeah, that was change for timelines. That's what that note is, Brad. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
We good?
We good.
Mary Jo just wrote back to me, and she said, yes, board chair should sign that VTel document.
Okay, I'll dig it back. It's in this pile. I'll find it.
I don't know what the motion was made, I don't think there's any,
We didn't make a
We
motion.
did,
What are we signing it for? Just
that's what I'm trying to get right now, so it's just
We
acknowledging
received
it.
the appeal.
It's in this
It says,
pile. I'll find it.
On page 2 at the bottom, pursuant to Title 32, the appeal must be made within 14 days. I think that's just showing that the appeal came in that timeline.
Oh, one other action item is we were gonna draft somebody needed to draft a letter to the BCA telling them that the select board supports Charlie's, appeal.
Is our board secretary clerk going to do that?
no,
Why not?
because I don't want to.
I can do it if you want.
Okay.
Who's drafting the letter back to Tyler with restating the language to show meeting of minds on the understanding?
That'll come from Mike.
Yep, Mike's got that.
Okay.
I'm waiting, Mary Jo's typing right now, I'm trying to see what she has.
So I'm going to read this before I sign it. What I got right there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny, because there's 2 copies of it. Well, there's one's for us and one for them. There's 2 full copies, or there was in my packet.
Her answer was, yes, it will be sent to the point person at the tax department who will take it from there.
Well, I'm still gonna read it before I sign it.
Yeah. I didn't know if you have to go back and make a motion to authorize you to sign it, or,
This is a stipulation regarding appeal to the Board of Civil Authority, which is why I didn't really scrutinize this, because I thought that this was something the chairman of the BCA should be scrutinizing. But I will read it, and then,
We ready for executive session?
I think so.
I move to find that premature general public knowledge regarding the contract, well, you wanna do contracts first, right?
yes, please.
Regarding the contract matter at hand would put the board at a substantial disadvantage because of the sensitive nature of the contract situation. I move that we enter into executive session to discuss the contract matter under the provisions of Title I, Section 313A1 of the Vermont statutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are in executive session with the board and the town manager.